LaKayla Heaventon.
My name is Jerica Shaw.
My name is Latanya Brooks.
And we are doing our extended version of Like a Winding Sheet. At the apartment, scene 1. May suffered from a broken nose, broken jaw, bruises to her head, 2 black eyes, and 2 broken cheekbones. Mr. Johnson was never arrested for brutally attacking his wife. He informed the police that his wife had been attacked by someone who had broken into their home before he returned from work. Mr. Johnson was terrified of going to jail. He was still living in a racist era and knew that jail would be the last place to spend his entire life. He knew he had to lie to the police.
My dear May was attacked by some monster.
Little did they know that Mr. Johnson was the monster. Before the EMT and police arrived, he had ran into the door full force, with his full body. He had to make it seem that there was a break-in. He flipped over tables in the living room, and he had thrown around other furniture and belongings in their apartment. He had to clean his hands off because they were still covered in May's blood. When the ambulance and police arrived, they quickly put May on the stretcher and told Mr. Johnson that they had to get her to the hospital as soon as possible. May was still non-responsive. Her lips were the size of a pear. At the hospital, scene 2. Mr. Johnson knew he had to come clean to at least one person, and that person was May. May was placed in intensive care and put on life support. She had a huge tube down her throat, tubes running out of her arms, bandages wrapped around her face, and a tube coming out of her nose.
May, darling, seeing you this way was never my intention. I never meant to attack you the way that I did, and I'm sorry from the bottom of my heart. If you can hear me, I want to lay everything on the table now. I had a horrible day at work. Boss was angry about my tardiness, and I've never seen her in such rage. Can you believe that boss even called me a nigger right to my face? I had the urge to hit her, but I didn't because of the consequences that I knew would come afterwards. After work, I decided to go grab a cup of coffee to ease the tension that had built up while I was at work. While in the coffee shop, the cashier told me that she had ran out of coffee. And once again, the urge of anger built up in me, and I wanted to hit her as well. I slowly turned around and began my way home. As soon as I walked in the house, all I heard was the bickering of you. As we continued to go back and forth, I just couldn't take it anymore, and I attacked you. I felt horrible after everything that happened, and I ended up telling the police a lie to keep me from getting locked up. I cannot express the guilt that I have caused upon myself, seeing you this way, May.
As I lay there in the bed, I began to think about all the good times that we had as a married couple. And as we had dreams of traveling to these romantic and exotic places, the first place that we ever talked about going was Jamaica because of the gorgeous scenery, and we wanted to experience life outside of our small city. As I lay here thinking about all the good times that we have had and the dreams that we formed as a married couple, one particular event is constantly coming back to my mind over and over and over again. I knew I had an awful feeling about Friday the 13th, and my husband, the one I love so dearly, proved me wrong. I repeatedly kept playing this horrible scene of my husband continuously hitting me, blood going everywhere, and the pain that felt like fire to my bones. Watching this was causing my heart to feel like it was beating outside my body. But now that I know that it is my time to go, and I will forever love you dearly until we meet again.
May dies, and Mr. Johnson is left with the guilt and hurt of knowing he killed his wife. All over a racist act that took place at work led to the killing of his wife of many years. Now Mr. Johnson has to live with this for the rest of his life.